different. And I was still in junior high when he got out. You know, I was quite young, and I noticed a big difference in him. Some bitterness that he didn't want to show. He wasn't, you know, crazy to go out and kill anybody in a uniform or anything, but he was bitter and very hurt, terribly hurt.
Very seldom the lighthearted prankster that was a part of his MO prior to the service.
But you know, Lester had a certain fragility about him that probably made what happened to him and undoubtedly happened to other black soldiers or musicians. I wouldn't think that he could have handled it as well as some other people.
Lester, what's a good word on the solo section?
Well, it's the original of mine, Ernie, and I call it the DB Blues.
Yeah.
But when he came out, he sounded just probably a little better than he did with Basie to me. That's when he came out, went right into Jazz Philharmonic. And there was no difference. If anything, he sounded better. Maybe it's because he's just glad to get out of the Army. But he sounded beautiful. No difference, unless it was for the better.
You find a lot more honking, a lot more overt expressive things like that. You find him using not only more honking, but more the top range of the instrument, more of an intense wailing type of a sound. You never think of his records with Basie as being a wailing sound, a crying sound. You have a lot of cry in the music. You find a really thick blues type of quality in the music starting there, more overtly bluesy.
Lightness of sound and that which really was the basis of what became known as cool jazz, that was Lester. People thought he was crazy when he wasn't. People thought he was addicted and he wasn't. So it was all that of Lester had a lot of courage because he was always himself. He wasn't going to make any compromises. He wanted to wear a pork pie hat and, you know, and he wanted to walk with rubber soles and kind of shuffle along because he felt comfortable that way. That was what he was going to do. And he was going to talk the way he did, and if people didn't understand what he was saying to them, that was their problem, not his. But at the same time, I'm sure that to an extent, it was a problem for him.
When he traveled, Lester always had his horn, a spare change of clothes, and a gun.
The squirt gun. He always seemed to have one around. I don't know where this ever started with him. Probably, you know, when he was a kid. He loved squirt guns. He'd run into places where friends of his would be playing. You know, they'd be up on the stand and he'd steady his aim and wham, he'd get him, he'd run out the door, he'd be laughing. Oh, he'd be laughing.
Oh, Prez was something else, man. I loved him. We got along so good together. It was, you want to see a funny sight, somebody should take a picture of him. He was taller than me, you know. Him with the big pork pie and me with the beret. What a sight.